my name is Natalie Imani.
And I'm Tanikka Charraé.
And we are your singer friends.
Yo, every time it's so funny. Okay. Yes. So collectively, we have over 20 plus years of professional background singing experience, as well as independent artistry, as well as all things vocals. So we decided to start a podcast so that we could talk about all things, share all information that we've acquired throughout the years, and just grow the community of vocalists.
Yep. We just want to collect all of the singer friends.
All of the singer friends. We're all one big singer friend group, family, clique and whatnot. So, yeah, what we got today? What we got going on?
All right. So we're going to continue from last time, episode 3. Today is episode 4. And the topic is professionalism. This is part 2 about professionalism.
You see that we had to move to a part 2 because it's important.
It is. And there's so much to be said.
Yes. There's so much to be said. There's so much that's unsaid that people are unaware of. And there's so much that actually goes into being professional that this singing gig that people are like, oh, it's just music. It's like, no. This is a whole industry. There's a lot that goes on over here.
There is a lot that goes on over here.
So, yeah.
Do you want to start with the definition?
Of professionalism?
Again? Yeah, we did that last episode, but we can...
Remind the people them.
We can remind them again today.
All right. Yes. So, professional, we like to delve into what the things mean. So, what we looked into yesterday, the definition for professionalism is a set of standards that govern how someone behaves in a work or business setting. And then the other one that we had, here it goes. The competence or skill expected of a professional. So, yeah. And what I found very interesting, and I'll just reiterate and bring it up really quickly again, was the fact that the competence was attached to professionalism, right? Mm-hmm. So,
I like that word.
Mm-hmm. Ditto. So today, we're going to talk about 4 more key points. So last week we covered time, appearance, interaction with others, and keeping things to yourself and, basically. So this week we're going to attack some really heavy ones. The first one, do you think we should start with the heaviest of heavies?
Sure.
All right. You're like, whatever. Boundaries. Dun, dun, dun. And there's levels on boundaries, right? So there's boundaries amongst, as Nat calls them, colleagues. Mm-hmm. There's boundaries with the artist that you actually work for in terms of that relationship and how you are in that relationship, because the environment is so free and it's again, not like a corporate environment. I think that it's really easy to get confused that this is work. Mm-hmm. And it's really, you can forget to have professionalism, which is, I think, the point on why we're driving it home. Because especially for my new singers out there, you really want to show up professional. You really want to show up just on your JO, because that kind of determines callbacks, people, staying in your network and really like deeming you someone worthy to call back, and not to, worthy is such a strong word, but you know what I mean? Just whether or not I'm going to call you again because of what level of professionalism that you've exemplified in my presence. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the main things is that you don't want to rub people the wrong way. Mm-mm. I think if you keep that at the forefront of what you do, I think that there is a way to build relationships and have relationships with your coworkers or your bandmates as well as having a relationship with the artist, but without being like super self-conscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want to be like, oh my gosh, what did I say? What did I do? Oh my gosh, they're gonna hate me. They're not gonna like me. Right. Well, be yourself. Be yourself.
Yeah.
But just like try to respect people's space, and that sometimes you just kind of, especially the first couple of gigs, you just want to feel the situation out, right? You want to feel the artist out. You want to feel your bandmates out. Mm-hmm. So I would say maybe you don't want to go in on the first day with the biggest version of your personality, right? I mean, some people do.
I was not expecting you to say that. That is hilarious.
I mean, it works for some people.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you kind of want to, without having like a, stiff energy of like, oh my gosh, like.
Yeah. Or even a nervous energy too. Yeah. Like without having either of those.
Yeah, I think the best thing you can do is be as confident in what you do as you can be.
Yeah.
Like so confident that you feel like you can go in here and be yourself, to like, I'm here, I can help you, whatever you need. I know what I'm here to do. Mm-hmm. I know my parts, like what, I feel so confident that I'm comfortable with talking to the artist. I'm comfortable with talking to the music director. I'm comfortable with talking to the bandmates. And it's also a thing of not all musical directors like for their bandmates to talk to the artist, right? Mm-hmm. So there's like different little things that you only learn from just coming into this space, being a little neutral for a little bit, feeling things out, seeing what people, what they like, what they don't like, and then just kind of going from there and seeing what you can do.
Yeah, don't go in trying to be BFFs with the artist or even your bandmates. Yeah. Like, just don't. Like, especially if you're not. You know what I mean? Like, there's some instances where you are, right?
Cultivate relationships.
Yeah,
but it's not just like the first day you show up and, everybody loved me so much. Yeah. And I'm like, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Because some people might feel intimidated by how big your personality was. Like, did they think they're the star?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Careful.
Yeah. And that's on the list too. We're going to talk about that because that's a thing. In fact, we should probably transition into that. But that is, knowing your place is pretty important too. So obviously there's boundaries. That's the last topic that we were discussing. And it's important to have boundaries and remember that this is a job and that Beyonce is not your best friend. You know what I mean? Or, these people aren't your friends. As she said, cultivate. Cultivate is such a good word, actually. Really good word. But when you're new and you're a new kid on the block, like really take some time to like read the room, sit down, figure out, what's happening, listen, pay attention, don't come in all opinionated with a whole bunch of things. And I'm not telling you to not be yourself. What I'm just saying is that you're coming into a new space. It's already creative. So, there's a lot of different feels, if you will, and energy and personalities and big personalities that already exist in general. And you're being added to this mix. So figure out how you can complement the mix versus, confuse it or convolute it, if that makes any sense. And also just to piggyback again off of, or not even piggyback, but to really drive the point home about boundaries it's like, it is cool. We're working with celebrities. We're working with quote unquote famous people. We're working with, some of our idols and some of our stars and folks that we've looked up to for such a long time. And at the same time, this is a job. I don't know how many times to say it. It's a job because that's where the boundaries part is, because this is not your typical corporate 9 to 5. You're going to be invited to parties. You're going to be invited to trips. You're going to be invited to yachts. You're going to be invited to, you're in these exotic places.
So just be cool. Go in the room and be cool.
Be cool.
Just be so like cool and chill and just like know what you're there to do.
Don't be a thirst bucket. Don't. Just don't, guys. Come on. Like, so I'm also saying that to say that a lot of times this can be misinterpreted as, oh my gosh, Beyonce and I are about to get matching tattoos. And now, you know, she got that Tiffany endorsement. So, like, we're about to get, like, matching bracelets as well. Like, it's like, no, y'all not best friends.
Right.
She's actually your employer. And you're actually contracted to work for her. Right? And so, keep that at the forefront, you know? And don't do a lot of poser stuff, bruh. Like, don't be out here like, oh, you know what? And I don't know why I'm on Beyonce's top right now. I think because she's behind you in the picture. Oh. And plus, obviously, you sang for her. But nonetheless, you know, don't be out here posed up in the pig and being like, oh, you know, how we do brunch with B on the yacht first thing in the morning. Like, don't be a poser. Like, sometimes we're genuinely cool with these people, but we've also been working with them for so long.
Right.
But don't be that guy or gal that's like, oh my gosh, you know. So once we were with B, Kelly came and it was just bananas and Solange. And like, ain't nobody checking for, it's just corny. It's corny because it's not true. And then it's just corny because it's corny, right? Because it's still a job. And while, like, you know, people are impressed by all of those things, just remember what it is and create the boundaries. Also, don't do a whole bunch of that, like, elbow rubbing, trying to, like, be in the presence and in the graces or accelerate the relationship and the years. Like, cultivate, as she said, cultivate. Earn your way through. Allow for moments and things to actually happen, memories to happen. Like, do life with folks. You know what I'm saying? So, do life with folks in a professional way. Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah.
That's the word. That's the word. Professional.
Yeah. I just really wanted to drop that boundary point home because I've seen a lot of people like where you like catch a glimpse of like a conversation being had and you're like, wait a second. I don't know that it went that way, but okay. You know, so yeah. Yeah. Keep it humble. We keep talking about humility. And like all of these things are really helpful.
Humility, that's a whole nother topic. Like we probably
could just do a episode on that.
Yeah, that can go a whole nother way too. Because it's like, I guess the more you do this and the more you're around people and the more you put yourself in these positions, the more you learn yourself and the more you learn who you need to be, how you need to be in these rooms. Because there is a balance. Like humility, a lot of times when people think about being humble, people think that you're supposed to just like, exactly,
cower out and no, me. It's like,
no. When she says humility, that's not it. That's not what she's talking about.
And a lot of times that's a false humility. Like, you know, there's some people who kind of are timid like that. Yeah. But then there's like folks who are like, oh no,
yeah. Yeah.
You're like, what? Not what? No. Okay.
Yeah. No. And, you know, and that can kind of cause things to go in a negative way for you sometimes because people can start to view like if you're a little too humble, people can view that as a lack of confidence. Yep. And it makes them feel like they can't trust you with what they're calling you to do. Because this business is that, yeah. Yeah. So there is that balance of like humility in the sense that I'm not gonna come in and like act like we're best friends and be the biggest person in the room, but I am gonna own my space. Yes. Like I am gonna come in with a level of confidence that's gonna let you know that you can depend on me.
Yeah. So well said. I agree. Okay, but we were transitioning from boundaries to knowing one's place and not expecting just some of the same proclivities that like some of the celebrities would be getting or folks that may even have just been there longer than you. So it's just kind of understanding your place. That's really important. And I'm not saying go in and being like, hey, I'm the new kid on the block. It's just really being intentional about understanding kind of what I was saying earlier about being inserted into this mix. And there's already so much going on. Like, think about it like as like Thanksgiving and there's like a whole spread of stuff. you're not going to just come in and just drop the turkey down in the center and the whole, tables goes flying. It's already so many dishes that are already there, and you're just going to figure out a way to blend in, or even just like a meal where there's a whole bunch of other ingredients. If you're like a strong mustard, like you got to tame that down. You got to figure out how you're going to blend up in the recipe. So
are you hungry?
Am I? Because that was 2 food analogies. Yo. But I just want everyone to think about, how to like work your way into an already existing situation oftentimes, and how you can just fit in and offer professionally yourself.
Yeah. And you always want to find a way to make yourself like needed and necessary, and I'm trying to think of the right word that I'm looking for, but kind of like I don't want to say irreplaceable, but
right.
you kind of want to
be not disposable, basically.
Yeah, like you want to do your job in a way that makes the artist feel confident, makes the music director feel proud of you, makes you feel, just kind of makes you dependable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dependability is important. Like when that actually, I'll say this just to insert and piggyback off of what Nat is saying. That is sustainability and longevity. Mm-hmm. Because when your reputation, and I know that you're dependable, and I know that, I may have worked with you before, and you, you show up in this way, like I'm going to keep calling you, or I'm going to refer you. Mm-hmm. So it's really important.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You're not, you just always have to remember that you're not just representing yourself, but you're representing the artist that you're working for. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you are a business. Yep. You are a walking business. So it's really important to think about what you represent. Mm-hmm. And professionalism is definitely one of the traits that you definitely want to have as a business.
Yeah, for sure. Think about your Yelp review. Think about your...
Oh, yeah. Are you getting 5 stars?
Are you getting 5 stars? Or are you skipping by, right? So think about it that way. All right. So the next topic under professionalism, which needs to be addressed. Preparedness. Man. Let me tell you something. I had a singer one time. All I needed her to do was actually do a rehearsal. She came into the rehearsal. Mm-hmm. Didn't know not a song. Maybe 2 songs. Because they were famous songs.
Okay.
But these other little album cuts, didn't know not a song.
Well, how far in advance did she have the music?
Okay. It was a popular artist already. She didn't have the music as far in advance, but she was told maybe 2 or 3 days or so prior to, who she was singing for and that she would be needed. Mm-hmm. So review, you got to go into overdrive and really drive home at least some staples. Mm. And at least your part. Mm. Right? If you are singing tenor, singing alto, that's not what you're supposed to be singing. You're supposed to be singing tenor. So preparedness is important. Knowing the material, knowing your part relatively enough. And I'm saying that to say because sometimes there's instances where you're called at the very last second, very short. It happens. It does happen often. However, is that the standard? Does that happen more often than not? No. Being prepared for gigs is important. Yes. You need to show up knowing your material. You need to show up knowing your part. You need to show up knowing your moves. You need to show up knowing, what the songs. So I had somebody a simple one time, something as simple as a song. What's this song? What's that? Like you need to know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Preparedness is so important because this is the point. You know, why else? You want to just travel the world for free? I mean, who doesn't? But you know what I'm saying? It comes with working. It comes with the job. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll give you a really good example. This very last tour Natalie and I had done together, and Nat's preparedness was on a quadrillion. Is quadrillion a word?
I really only had like a week, I guess, to like learn the whole show.
You had a little longer than that.
Not really, because I was on vacation and other things. So I had other things going on. So I didn't have like the time to really put in until like I was there. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So, and I mean, and I did rehearse on my vacation a little bit too, but I was on vacation. Well, nobody was trying to rehearse.
It wasn't nobody trying to rehearse. Girl, if you would have posted another video, you out there rehearsing. I'd have text you. Put the phone down. Put it down.
No, but I didn't want to look crazy or sound crazy, child. So being prepared gives you peace of mind. It gives everybody around you peace of mind. It gives the artist peace of mind.
Yeah.
So
the artist peace of mind.
Yes.
That's the biggie. Because, and that can be a huge determining factor of getting callbacks.
Yes.
There's plenty of times where artists were not comfortable with the singers and they don't call them back.
Yeah.
So you want to be prepared, guys. Be prepared. Live your best scar life and be prepared out here in these streets. All right. What were you gonna say? Did you want to say something?
No, I was just gonna say to maybe like try to look into some tips and tricks on how to like learn material quickly and also being okay with your own personal way of learning. Mm-hmm. I think some people, you know, like you might feel shy or judged because you like to write lyrics down to memorize them. But if you know that writing the lyrics down to memorize them helps you memorize them, then girl, get your pen. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you can get in your head and feel like, oh, they're gonna think that I'm slow. Like, but if that's gonna make you faster, then do what you think you need to do. Mm-hmm. So it is good to learn yourself enough to know how you learn. Like, are you a listener? Are you a reader? Are you a writer? Like, what are the ways that you
are you a visual
kind of learn and memorize things quickly?
Yeah, that's good. That's true.
And a lot of times that can also be the difference between you being selected for a gig and somebody else being selected. Yeah. Because that other person might pick up faster than you do.
That's a big thing, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important, like before you even start to go out there and gig, it's important to start working on those things, you know, just kind of find songs on YouTube or, you know, your favorite songs and start trying to learn them, you know.
I say that all
start
the time.
Trying to harmonize with parts so that you can pick out what your part might
good.
be. You know, there's lots of little things that you can do, but it does take taking the time to do it and practice and learn it because it's not something that just comes easily. Mm-mm. Some people it does.
Right. You know? No, I think it comes easily. I think it comes easily for me. I think it comes easily for you too. But it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a lot. There's a lot of music in this world, and there's a lot of gigs in the world. And even if you're on just one gig, it's just a lot. So you just want to be as prepared and comfortable as possible. Mm-hmm. And you want to set yourself up to win as much as possible, like to be in a beneficial position as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. And finally, our last one, communication.
Oh, yes.
Communication is so important, guys. Communication on a gig is not only important just because, you know, you want to let people know what's going on and you want to learn what's going on, but it also allows, it takes out a lot of guessing work. There's so much time I feel like that's missed from miscommunication, especially on tour. So, you know, because there's just a space of not knowing, because there's something that hasn't been communicated, something is falling apart or failing, and you just don't want to be a part of that process or that system.
Yeah.
So you want to communicate with your managers, you want to communicate with your MD, you want to communicate with your, and by managers, I mean like your road manager, your tour directors, you know, whomever's in charge of something, you want to communicate with them as much as possible. So if you're going to be late, you want to communicate that. You know, if something's wrong with your sound, you want to communicate that. You just want to be communicative, and you want to communicate professionally. So you want to be as clear as possible. You also want to understand your timing. You know, it's important that if the artist is there and the artist is there sound checking, this is probably not the time to communicate with the sound person. You might want to, you know, let them get their sound and stuff straightened out, and then, you know, focus on your own stuff. You want to communicate with your section. You want to communicate with your band, because on stage, there's so much happening. There's so many talkbacks and, hey, go up, go down, stop. Don't. And that's really important. Break. Communication is so key in every single area. And you just want to be sure that you are being as clear as possible, as much as you can.